Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are making some beautiful bars of Sweetgrass Gradient Swirl cold processed soap. This soap is a continuation of our ongoing Sweetgrass series, but instead of using Sweetgrass hydrosol for a Sweetgrass scent, I'm going for more of a visual interpretation. As you can see, these bars are quite warm and golden, reminiscent of dried sweetgrass, and then the smell of sweetgrass, that warm sweet scent, really makes me think of beautiful meadows of dry, summery grass, and so that's also sort of where that golden inspiration is coming from. The technique for these bars was inspired by Andrea of Rebel Ridge Soaps, and so she's also an Albertan, and you should absolutely check her out on Instagram and on her website. I'll link that in the description box below. But a couple months ago, she shared a really neat video of her making her mermaid soap, which used a really cool in-the-pot technique that I'd never seen before. She prepared several different colors of batter, and then as she poured, she was intermixing them, creating a kind of gradiated, blended swirl effect that was really, really cool, and I really wanted to riff on it. So this is my riff, and if you compare the bars that she made with these bars, they really do look quite different. And I'm thinking that's because her batter was quite a lot more liquidy than mine. So as she was pouring into her mold, she got a lot more of like a scoopy swirl thing going on, whereas I ended up with more sort of subtle swirls and then more of a layered gradient effect. I did choose to leave these bars unscented. If you do want to scent them, go right ahead. Just make sure that if you're using a fragrance oil, you're researching it to see how it's going to behave in the batter. Anything that's going to accelerate trace and accelerate thickening, I don't recommend, because it'll make it really hard to kind of get the swirly multi-pour thing that we're doing happen. Just a reminder, if you are looking for more information on this soap, make sure you are going down to the description box below this video and clicking through to find the partner post for this soap on my blog. There you'll find a lot more information, links to places to purchase ingredients, and links to all of Andrea's stuff, so you can make sure to check it out. But come on, let's get started. Before we dive in, let's take a look at everything we have in our workspace. So in this pot, we have our fat mixture, which has been melted and then cooled to room temperature. For details on what's in this fat blend, please make sure you are checking out the description box below this video. Here we have our sodium hydroxide solution, also made and then cooled to room temperature. We have some white kaolin clay. We have our colors, so these are micas that have been pre-distributed in some castor oil, and again, more details on that in the description box below and in the blog post linked in that description box. We have our mold just kind of off to the side here, just wiggling off in the corner, and that's been pre-lined. And if you want details about the mold I use, it is a homemade one, and there are details on my blog. We have 4 funnel pitcher containers for doing our different colors, and then just off to the side here we have some paper towel, always a useful thing, and our immersion blender. So we're going to begin by mixing our clay here into the oils. Now that the clay is all nicely blended in, we are going to add our sodium hydroxide solution and bring this to a light trace. Now that we have reached a light trace, I'm going to roughly divide this batter between these 4 funnel pitchers. So there we are. You could absolutely leave one of these parts in your soaping pot. I just find it's easier to kind of eyeball the measurements if they're all in the same size of container. So now we're going to color 3 of these with our micas, and then we're going to leave one uncolored. So we're going to start with half of the sort of darker bronzy one here. And then we're going to pour in half of the gold. And then pour in a bit of the gold here. And then we're going to add some of our kind of peachier layer. Now some straight peachy layer, and then some of our uncolored one. And then the rest of our uncolored one. I'm going to give this a few good sharp raps on the countertop to knock out any air bubbles, and we can see if we can get my dog barking. And we can finish it off with some of this Glamour Gold biodegradable glitter from Humblebee. All right, well now all that's left to do is let this saponify for a couple days, and then we can come back and slice it and see how that swirl turned out. All right, so it's been about 48 hours, and I think we are ready to slice this and see how it turned out. So we'll start by disassembling our mold. Okay, so it looks like I was wrong. It has not sat long enough. It is still really, really, really soft. You can kind of see it's sticking to my knife. It is not holding its shape very well at all. So rather than butcher this loaf trying to slice it now, I'm just gonna let it sit like this for another day or two, and then we will come back and try again, and hopefully that'll work a little bit better. All right, so it's been a couple more days and this is a lot more solid than it was. So now we can finally see how those swirls turned out. Okay, and there you go. So this is our beautiful Sweetgrass Gradient Swirl soap right after cutting. You can see that the swirl is fairly subtle, and I would love to try this technique again with a more liquidy batter. I think we would have got more intermixing with a more liquid batter. And I also think we would have a much more noticeable effect if the colors were more contrasty than the ones that I chose are. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with how these turned out. A huge thank you to Andrea for sharing this technique on her Instagram. She made a beautiful mermaid themed soap with it, and you should really check her video out as well. I'll link it in the description box below. So make sure you're leaving these bars to age for at least 4 to 5 weeks before using to give them plenty of time to harden up. But thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and make sure you are checking out the description box below this video for more information. And please do click through to the blog post. There's a partner blog post that has all the information about the soap, links to places to buy ingredients, written out instructions, all that good stuff. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time.